Mieke, welcome to my channel.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out. I so appreciate your willingness to share your experiences and to put people in the picture. It happens very often in coaching, career coaching, that I see young people and matricure, even sometimes first year university or first year studying something, but it's not exactly what they like. And the question is obviously, I am not so sure what I like and what I should be doing. So what I would like to know from you, because I know which choice you made eventually, but to explain it, you were last year at school, and how are you thinking about your future?
When I was in 7th grade, actually, I wanted to go into the medical field, and I had that idea until I was when I went to America. So I wanted to study nursing.
Nursing.
That was definitely, I was set on studying nursing.
Yeah.
And then I decided I just wanted to take 1 year, go abroad and travel and just see what's going on outside of the world, and then come back and then study. That was my plan. I was very set on only 1 year.
1 year.
And then I went there for 1 year and I stayed for another. I really wanted to stay for another so I can travel a little bit more. And I enjoyed my experience. So I thought I might travel a little bit more and learn more things that I wanted to learn.
How did you make it possible for yourself? You used the au pair channels, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So can you tell us a bit about that? Because
yes.
I often get questions about that, and I have never au paired.
Yeah.
And I've heard mixed stories, but most of them have been very good experiences.
Yes.
So I hope yours was also a good one.
Yes, mine was
Except
very
that
good.
one turned into 2 years because those were the lockdown years.
Yes.
Yes.
And a lot of my friends kind of asked me, but why would you take a gap year? You should go and study immediately. But I felt like it's something that I wanted to do. And so I went. And then when I was there, I was still set on studying nursing. But then when I was there during lockdown, I met a personal trainer. And I could see what she was doing, and especially during lockdown, how she had to adjust her job.
Yes.
And she had to do everything from home. So I got to see what she did with her clients and stuff like that, and I actually kind of started liking that. And then my host family had a gym in the house. That's an American thing, to have a gym in the basement.
Yes.
With everything that you need, treadmill, Peloton bicycle, weights, anything that you can think of. And so when the kids went to school, I used to go gym, and I just fell in love with it. It was my goal. I had 2 goals for my first year when I went, and it was learn a new skill, like a new language, or like to play the guitar, to go surfing or something like that, and work on your fitness, because I was never into fitness. I didn't really like fitness.
And then you had to
strongly,
and you had a trainer to change your mind.
Exactly.
Mind shift.
Exactly.
Hey.
So I went there.
Before you carry on, just put us in the picture, because I'm now curious. Where in the States were you? Where were you based?
So,
was there an ocean to go with the surfing goals as well?
Yes. So my first 10 months in America, I lived in Los Angeles, very close to Malibu, which is where all the surfers are.
Oh my goodness, you must have many stories.
Yes, I wanted to go surfing, but they closed the beaches because of COVID, so I couldn't do that.
Unbelievably. What a disappointment.
Yeah. And then for 2.5 months, I lived in Orlando, Florida. Also a lot of surfers there, but still couldn't do that. And then my second year, I lived in Pennington, New Jersey, just an hour's drive from New York City, so not too far from New York City. So definitely 3 different places.
Yes, very different.
But I love that.
Yeah.
I love that I could have seen the different climates and
different families. How many children altogether did you look after?
6. No, 7.
7.
7, yeah.
Well, head off to you.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it actually?
I did.
Have you got a knack with children or what?
Yes, I love children. Any age, I just love children. I really love spending time with kids because I like how curious they are. And so that's also why I went over, is to like also see how their kids are raised and how their minds are and how they function. So you
must have had a lot to compare with your upbringing, how things are happening here, schools here and schools there.
It's totally different.
Totally different. What do you think is most different?
I think, in my opinion, parents, and not all the parents, but for the most part, parents in America are a little bit more laid back, so not as strict on their children as our parents are. Like sometimes the kids would get away with things that I would think my parents would not let me get away with this. But not. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just think that their parents are a little bit more laid back, and schools too. They don't have rules in their schools as much, so they wear normal clothes and.
Not the uniforms that are such a holy object still in South Africa and cost the parents an arm and a leg sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
It must be a different vibe. Yeah. Did you get to integrate like with the children and their communities, the school, their friends, their sports?
Yeah, definitely.
Were you accepted easily?
Yes.
Well, it may be your personality.
I have a very outgoing personality, so I would go out and go with the intention of meeting new people. And I think that's how I made friends so easily over there too. But yeah, I feel like with my first year I had little kids, so between the ages of 4 and 9. But my second year I had teenagers.
Very different.
And so my oldest host kid, he started high school last year, so when I was still there. So it was interesting to go to his high school and see like their ages and go watch their sports, because he started playing football and lacrosse and ice hockey. All of them played ice hockey, so that was also very interesting to see. But I also met a lot of people.
You actually speak also very positive about your au pair experience. Is this something you would recommend? Does it take a special personality? What do you think is the strongest of your own characteristics that made it work for you? You're obviously outgoing and you love adventure, but are there other aspects that you would say, if somebody now came to ask, I would like to do this, but I'm not sure if I'm the right person to do this, what would your advice be?
I would say it doesn't require you to change as a person. It makes you a stronger person, I think, because if you have to pack your bags right after school and go somewhere where you don't know anyone and start from scratch, you just have to push through. Like the first few weeks, months even, can be tough because you don't know anyone. You have to start from scratch. You have to learn all of these new things, their currency, their
driving
accents.
to the right-hand side.
Exactly. Driving on the other side of the road, sitting on the other side of the car. Everything is different. Everything, in my opinion. I don't think that I ever saw something that really made me think of home. So to adjust, you need to be open to adjustment.
Yes.
That's basically, I think that was for me. I don't struggle with adjusting. I actually love change and I love adjusting to things. But I think for someone, I can't imagine someone that struggles with adjusting to go through that alone. So I think you just have to have an open mind. And
maybe not too much anxiety about what could happen.
Not think about what could go wrong, but actually put in the effort to just have fun. I think that was the most important for me. So I was in LA during a hard lockdown, and they were very strict. Like you weren't allowed on the beaches. And when they opened up the beaches, you weren't allowed to sit down. You could only walk and then go back to your car. You weren't allowed to be stationary on the beach. And you had to wear a mask. But when I was in LA, we had wildfires. And we were kind of trapped in the wildfires. But it was also so bad that the smoke, you couldn't open your windows because of the smoke. So we were literally trapped in the house. You can't go out to the stores. And you literally can't go out because of the smoke. So we were for like 2 or 3 weeks, we were stuck in the house, living out of our bags because of the fires, ready to be evacuated. And then you literally cannot even go into your yard because the smoke is so thick. So that was a little bit frustrating just to stay in the house, especially me because I like going out, even just to take the car and drive. And just unwind. For like 2 or 3 weeks, I couldn't do that. So that was definitely something to adjust to.
Do people panic there with the fires? Because they have it quite frequently. For you, it was not at first, but do they have a way of coping with it? Probably
they do. I felt like they had a very good plan set out. So there was right when we went out of the neighborhood, there was a fire truck ready to, like, if something happened.
They were ready.
I can compare these places in many different ways. So comparing California or Los Angeles specifically to Orlando, where I lived, environment-wise, Florida is very flat and it's swamp. In California, it's very mountain. They have a lot of mountains and beaches. In Florida, they have beaches too, but also the people are very different. So in Florida, I always tell people it's like in Jeffreys Bay, like everyone is just chilled and nice, and it's like a December holiday. You know,
everybody's got time.
Everybody's got time. Everyone's happy. That's Florida. But in LA, I felt like this is the one part of LA that I didn't like, is that they have standards. So like I lived very close to Hollywood, so the standards that they have there with all the celebrities that live there, it's like if you don't drive a Tesla, you don't fit in. If you don't have these $100 leggings on, you don't fit in. And if you look a certain way that doesn't fit with their criteria, they're gonna like scan you and like look you up and down. So I just felt like it was a very judgmental community for me. That's how I took it. Because that's where all the celebrities live. So you have to be like them. You have to meet their standards. Which is not possible, of course, for everyone.
Not for an average au pair student.
Exactly.
Would have been tricky. What were you driving, by the way?
I had a Acura SUV kind of car, little family soccer mom car.
So the family let you drive the family car?
Yes. They get
kids on board and all.
Yeah.
Well done to you, hey? And all of that happened without any mishaps?
No, I was in a car accident in Hollywood.
I didn't realize that. Did you drive to Richard Gere?
That would have been funny.
Would have been funny.
No, I was in a car accident. I was in a one-way, and then it was like a very young kid. He looked very young, like 16, 17 maybe, but they get their licenses earlier than we do. And he was in a red Porsche. And he was coming speeding down the one-way he was not supposed to come down because it was a one-way. And then he was speeding down, and then I had to swerve out, and I swerved into a parked truck. That was a little... My host family wasn't upset with me or anything, because there were witnesses that told the police what happened and things like that. At least there were witnesses. So that was an experience too, because then I had to go through that whole thing of the police having to come, and that was also a very different experience. And the police wasn't very nice, so that was also an experience. That the police in LA is a lot different than the police in the rest of the country. When you live in LA, you have to keep your hands on the steering wheel if you're pulled over. And you're not allowed to take it off. If he asks you for your proof of insurance and your license, you have to ask permission to take your hands off. Otherwise, they'll just take out their gun because they're going to assume that you're going to assault them.
You said to me beforehand when I invited you for the chat, you can talk for hours. Well, you've convinced me. I am sure you can talk for many hours.
Of stories.
I would like to bring in another aspect. It's now from the angle of knowing your mom, and that the idea was you go for 1 year and she will save for the opportunity to come visit and have a much deserved holiday. That, of course, never happened. So there are family ties and so on. But if you are somewhere for 2 years, did you not begin to consider staying? Did it not reach for you a point that you were weighing of maybe I can study in the United States? Should I really go back? Because yes, police is tough in LA, but we know what is tough in South Africa. And you compare basically first world with our current situation, which isn't so rosy. Did you have that inner dilemma in your head? Where shall I go with now my plans for the future?
Yes, I did. I had an opportunity to stay for 4 years longer, and then all my studies would have been paid for me. But that would have meant that I wouldn't be able to come back home for 4 years. And I didn't want to do that. Yes, I wanted to come back, and I missed my culture. I missed my culture. Not just Afrikaans culture, but South African culture in general, where the little things matter to me. So like saying please and thank you. That's not something that I experienced that they say a lot over there. Just the small things. And being appreciative. I felt like I didn't experience that there as much as I do here. I missed hearing my language in person. I realized
your friends, most likely.
I missed my friends, and I realized when I was there too how I took advantage of the beauty in South Africa. like nature-wise. Like I want to go down to Cape Town and just go hike Table Mountain, and like I took advantage of the beauty that we have here. They have a lot of beauty in America too. Yeah. But whenever it was summer in America, I was very homesick because the climate was the same. And so I missed home. That was when I was homesick. Only like winter was fun, like with the snow, and it's new and it's an experience. But during summer, I missed home. I just missed my people. It's hard to explain to people that don't understand, because a lot of people here are like, "Why didn't you stay? Why did you come back? Look at the country now."
4 years.
Yeah, but for me, it's not about how much money you can make, or how successful you can be, or where you live, or how classy you can be. For me, it's about I want to be around my people. That's what's important to me. And I wanted to come back and just be with my people. That's all I wanted.
So, and you did come back.
Yes, I did.
If it's not asking too much of you, can you fill us in what gives you the most joy coming back? How long have you been back? And what you currently do? Are you following through with your idea of personal trainer, or?
Honestly, I don't regret coming back. I feel like it's very stressful with the petrol prices going up and inflation and everything is very stressful, but I'm with my people, and that just makes me feel so much better. I'm studying personal training like I wanted to, like I found my passion for there. I came back December 29th, and I started my studies mid-January, so like half a month and I already started my studies. Yes. And I'm doing my practical at the gym at the moment, so I'm with a personal trainer and he has clients, and so now I have to take over his classes and set them up and present the classes and stuff like that, which I love. When I started my practical, I was like, this is exactly what I want to do. So yeah, I'm doing my practical, I'm working a lot of my studies because it's a self-paced course.
The theory is all sitting behind your desk.
Yeah, so I have 2 years to do it, but I'm trying to finish my certification as soon as possible. So like I'm trying to be done by August, so then I can be appointed to work in a gym. But then I have to do my diploma for personal training, and then sports psychology and sports nutrition and stuff like that, boot camp courses. So it's very extensive what I'm studying. It's not just personal training; it goes a long way. But that I
it's
love
still
it.
in the medical line, but it's
it's a little bit different,
and it seems to suit you to the nines, eh?
Yes, and I love working with people. I'm a people person. So when I'm in the gym and I work with these clients too, it's like I get to work with a different person every hour. So I really. Could you
get me to do sit-ups?
Yeah, we can start sometime
slowly. I think you're going to really be very happy in that profession. So it looks good. That fell into place.
Yes.
And you were quickly busy again. So has there been much time to enjoy, have fun? Have you maybe revisited the rugby matches by now?
I'm going to after
I thought you were going to mention rugby anyway.
Yes, I missed rugby.
You missed it?
I did. But actually when I was in LA, I arrived in January 2020. February 2020 they had rugby sevens and the Blitzboks were there. And I bought myself a ticket. It was not cheap, but I bought myself a ticket. I went with two South African friends to go watch it, and then the Blitzboks won, and it was just so much fun. Like 50% of the stadium were South Africans. You could see like all the jerseys. It was so fun. But that's the only time that I could watch rugby. I watched a lot of different sports in America, like baseball and football. I went to the stadiums. Ice hockey. My host kids played lacrosse, lots of different sports that I got to learn from, which I really enjoy actually. Like I still talk to my host families about what's going on in football now. Like what's your favorite team doing now? Like we still talk about that a lot because they know that I like sports and they like sports.
And you're still in touch.
And we're still in touch.
They must have loved you.
Oh,
they must have loved you. They wanted to keep you an extended American family now.
But I'm also happy to come back and watch rugby with people that also know rugby, and the way that South Africans South Africans support sports is a lot different to how Americans support sports. So for them it's they take it very, very seriously. I mean here they do too, but it's like they're very divided in sports. And like everyone supports the Springboks, you know, like it's
It
our
unites
team.
people more than divides
Like
them.
when we won the World Cup in 2019, it's like everyone, like it unites everyone, and there I feel like it divides everyone.
This is for you the moment to also reflect, what did I not even consider asking because I wasn't aware, something that you feel is really important to your story. You were 18 when you left.
Yes, 19. I just turned 19.
You just turned 19.
10 days after my 19th birthday.
Yes. And you stood there all alone with your backpack, other side of the world, nobody with you, and all that. You managed it, you came back in one piece.
Yeah.
You made considered choices and you found your new career. Those 2 years have been definitely not a waste of time.
No,
even when your friends have said, why do you do this, and so on. And it's actually something I really believe in, that when you follow your heart, you felt, I need to see the world, I need this adventure. You did it, you won't regret it, you don't regret it. And it had its own way of bringing in your life what you really wanted to do. You don't make like your choice about your career by leafing through a book, you know, or just Googling. You had like a total experiential choice process that you went through. That's actually so wonderful. I'm glad that happened to you and you chose for that. But so is there something that you would really like to add to this story as a message?
I would. A lot of parents ask me this question, like especially parents that have their kids in like late high school right now. They'd ask, would you recommend my daughter going over? And I would say 1000%, because everyone has a bad experience. Like it doesn't matter how small it is, but I had a few bad experiences in America, especially with the politics, and it was election year, and it was protests and things like that. So I had my experiences, but I felt like it made me a stronger person. It made me see how people out there think, and how their culture has an effect on the way they think. And I would always say to parents asking me that question, they have to do it. Like you learn a lot through the bad experiences, and you have fun. And that's all that I wanted. I just wanted to have fun and travel and meet new people and learn a new language, which I did start learning a new language. I started learning Spanish, and then I made Spanish friends. I still talk to them, and they still help me with my Spanish. And going over and meeting new people from different countries too, and having those friends, they're like forever friends. Like I still talk to them. So you meet new people, you learn new things, you become a much stronger person. I've always seen myself as a strong person, but that experience has made me realize that I've learned a lot of things, and it's made me realize that even though you might feel alone, you're not, because you make a lot of friends. You make a lot of people that you will always keep close to you, and that will support you, and especially my host kids. Like we talk to this day. We say like when they get married, and I'm going to be at their wedding. So you make new families too.
Close bonds.
So I love the fact that I could come back, knowing that I still have people all over the world now, friends from Germany, Australia, Colombia, like any place you can think of. And I know I have friends there, and we still talk about doing trips. Like I have a friend from Germany that wants to come down. I have a friend from Colombia that wants me to go over. And it's just the things that you can take from that experience that I had, the good outweighs the bad. Definitely.
You got your ticket to the world.
I also learned a lot from my host kids. So I always, people always say, kids learn a lot from adults. But I felt like during my experience, I learned a lot from kids. So last year, I love Formula One. I love racing. And every Sunday I used to watch a race. So my host family knew Sunday she was in her room, she was watching a race. And my host kids started showing interest in it. And my youngest one, she's 9. And she came into the room the one Sunday, and she came in and she said, "Are you watching a race again?" And I said, "Yeah, you want to come sit next to me and watch it with me?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then she started asking questions like, "Who's your favorite driver?" And I said, "Well, this is my favorite driver. And she asked me, but why? And I said, well, we're the same age, and he's like a millionaire already because he's doing so good for himself. Like he's a Formula One driver at the age of 21. Like I think that's fantastic. Like I'm very happy, and he's a very humble and outgoing person, and I admire that he can be humble and outgoing and successful at the same time, and he's so young.
Yeah.
And then when I said, because he's so successful, she just looked at me and she was quiet for a while, and then she said, you're 21 too. I was like, yeah, I'm almost 21. She's like, yeah, and you're just laying on your bed and watching him become successful. And I was like, wow, you just brought me back to earth, girl. Like, wow. And then from that day, when she said that, I was like, she's right. Like, I obviously still watch the races, but the way she said it was like, he's the same age and he's successful. Why aren't you like doing the same?
Yeah,
it's not like she was insulting me or anything, but it was just like
questioning.
She didn't mean it in a mean way. It's just the innocence of a child. And I was like, you are so right. You are very right. And I went to tell her mom. I was like, this is what you told me today. And now I want to start my studies. I want to become successful. She's driven me now to like become successful. And I always remember whenever I feel like I'm not in the mood to study, I always remember that phrase that she said. Yeah. You're just watching him become successful on TV. You're just laying in your bed and watching him. I was like, you are so right. And now every time I'm lazy, I think about that. And I'm like, I'm not going to sit and watch someone become successful. I'm going to become successful myself.
Your own Formula One personal trainer.
Exactly.
I think this will hopefully inspire quite a few other people.
I hope so.
I hope so too. But overall, I think your story is really awesome, and you tell it with so much passion. It's so convincing. I think if I could turn back the clock, I would also be au pairing, although I may not have been so good with the kids. But that adventure that you started, it's really built you. You built yourself a much bigger world. And just to think, if you would have stayed in a little town where you grew up and all that, you would have missed so much, and you've enriched yourself, but you've also enriched the people where you brought your spark, and I'm sure you made lifelong friends. It must be great to have you in the home for a while.
Yeah.
Mieke, I'm going to round off here and say thank you so much for the time you spent, and I hope we stay in touch as well.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.